That's a lot to have accomplished in a few short years.
Yeah, the universe had a much bigger plan than I did. This was not my intention, and we have just kind of ridden the momentum out.
That often happens. I could say the same for Chicks with Checks if you want to know the truth. The universe had a far larger plan than I was seeing at the time.
I totally
That's so
get
wonderful.
that.
It tells you you're in the groove.
It tells you you're doing what you were put here to do, I think.
It really does.
It validates that.
So you mentioned that you have this huge volunteer base. When you take a trip, who all goes with you on the trip?
We take really a surgical team. That surgical team consists of anesthesiologists, surgeons. We take recovery room nurses, ward nurses, ICU nurses, and then in addition to that, we will take non-medical people that we've trained in the capacity of medical records, and then oftentimes we just need people to hold babies as they come out of recovery. In a site like Lima, Peru, where we have 4 surgeons, every hour a child is coming out of surgery, so at the end of the day, we can do as many as 20 surgeries. And you just need arms to hold babies. Recovery rooms don't have 20 beds. And so we'll take along mission participants that we will mix in with the family element, and they'll follow a child through on a day of surgery.
How old is the youngest child, and how old's the oldest child that y'all have operated?
The youngest child that we've probably ever operated on is about 2.5 months. We have a general rule of thumb where they have to be 3 months and 10 pounds and a hemoglobin of 10 or greater. Anything less than those numbers, surgeries become risky. And so it's better for us to wait and do a surgery the following year when we return, so that safety is always the #1 consideration in any surgery we do. I think our oldest patient was one that we recently did down in Cusco, Peru. She was in her early 60s. And yeah, it was a profound surgery. If you go online to our website, there is a video segment with Jason Davis from Channel 5 that's showing, and she's featured in this video, and it's pretty remarkable.
Have you kept up with her?
You know, we'll catch up with her when we return next August. These people come from such remote villages that there's no formal ways of communicating with them. So oftentimes we'll see, though, when we venture back to a destination, that many of our previous patients will come and see us.
Wow. And I have to ask this, because you just said that when the child is not old enough or hasn't reached a weight or a hemoglobin that you come back next year. Is that child in danger during that year?
Yeah, absolutely. The fear always is that if a child is malnourished and can't be put on the surgery schedule because they're underweight as a result of malnourishment, the hope is that given a year to beef that child up a little bit, so to speak, that they'll be healthier. But sometimes the reality is the opposite happens. I think one of the most remarkable things that I've learned in this work was just on a recent trip to Africa this summer, where it really became clear to me that term survival of the fittest. And in Africa, the women do everything. They do everything. It's a tough life. They cook and they clean and they take care of the children. They take care of the livestock. They tend to the house. And if you have 4 or 5 children, and you can get those children fed in the space of 30 minutes, and you have a cleft child that may take you an hour to feed because the food is spilling out of their mouth or backing into their nasal cavity, you just simply run out of hours in the day to do what needs to get done. And so it's not uncommon to see cleft children in these developing countries left on a floor just because people run out of time and resources.
Wow. What about the danger from the fear that they're a curse? I mean, are these children sometimes taken and harmed?
I think, I think more often than not we hear stories all the time how children are just left to die. They're left to die in a crib, or they're walked out to a field. And that's never an easy choice for a parent to make. And I think it's really easy for us to be judgmental and say, oh, what a terrible thing. But when you have the forces of your own culture coming against you, or just survival, sometimes people are forced to make decisions that you and I probably will never be faced with something like that in our lifetime.
And thank goodness for that.
Yep.
And just, you mentioned the woman that's trying to take care of 4 or 5 children and has this handicapped child. I mean, at some point, she probably has to rationalize that she has to take care of the ones that have a chance, where in her mind, this child may not even have a
Right.
chance.
Yep.
It's a tough choice for mom. That's almost impossible.
Because they don't love that child any less.
No.
And I just can't think of a worse situation to be in. When we do that exchange with parents, when you give a child back after a surgery, so often what you see is the weight or the burden of the guilt that parent has carried with them through those years, that weight being lifted from the parent. And so often we've had people thank us for doing what they couldn't do because they didn't have the resources to do it. And imagine having a sick child of your own and knowing that it was something that could be fixed, but not having the resources to give that child life. So it's rewarding. It's so rewarding.
It's amazing. I could sit here all afternoon and listen to this, but let's talk a little bit about our party on Tuesday. First of all, I'm going to switch gears completely here. This is such gorgeous space we're in, and Smile Network is housed here now.
Yes.
Tell us that story.
Well, first I want people to know that we don't spend donors' money on this space. We're really fortunate in that we are in a retail location with Walsh Design, and Walsh Design invited us to come into their space. And what's great about it is what we do is we operate on children, and we're able to keep the focus on providing the best of care, the safest of care for these children. And as we find products and bring them back and work with different groups in the United States to bring in their products, Walsh Design merchandises and staffs the sales floor. And so we're able to continue to do what we do best, but also create another revenue stream. So the purchase of the products in this room go back to underwriting the cost of surgery. So in difficult economic times, we've been forced to do some different things, but we're actually having a lot of fun with it and finding some really cool things as a result, and building a reputation of having some great gift ideas for people.
So your beautiful things are interwoven with the beautiful design firm's beautiful things.
Yeah, and we're not using the donors' money to have this beautiful retail space. So it was a great scenario for us.
That's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. So our event on Tuesday is, we mentioned, a holiday shopping extravaganza. Tell us what's going to happen with that, because we're all going to come here to this beautiful space and we're going to see all these beautiful things, and they're going to say, "Take me home." So.
Well, we hope they take a lot home, but first and foremost, it's really a social networking evening, an opportunity for us to talk about what we do at Smile Network and the families that we serve. And we'll have champagne and hors d'oeuvres that night. And then in addition, we'll have holiday gift items and unique gift items for people to purchase that night.
And I believe 100% of the purchases will be going towards Smile Network.
Yes, yes.
That is wonderful. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I'm really looking forward to this. And thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity with Chicks with Checks to be able to talk about what we do. We appreciate it.
Well, this is exactly what Chicks with Checks does. We raise awareness and funds for local nonprofits. And despite the fact that Smile Network works all over the world, they are local here to Minneapolis. Kim's right here, her work is here, her store is here, and we're just delighted. We're so delighted to have connected with you and have the opportunity to showcase you, hopefully, to an even newer audience.
Thank you.
And share what you do. So we hope we see lots and lots and lots of folks here Tuesday night to shop, to learn more about Smile Network, to enjoy champagne and appetizers and whatever else. And if you want to find out more about Smile Network, please visit their website, smilenetwork.org. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kim.
Thanks.